It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Every victory begins long before the clash of armies or the sound of battle horns. The true war takes place inside your mind, in the quiet hours when indecision gnaws at your confidence and doubt whispers in the shadows. Recognize this battlefield as your primary domain. Before any external conflict arises, the internal terrain must be mapped, fortified, and commanded. Hesitation is the enemy's ally. The moment you delay, the invisible adversaries of distraction, uncertainty, and envy gain ground. Life is not a series of random encounters. It is a continuous strategic contest where awareness alone grants an early advantage. Observe your surroundings with the precision of a general surveying the landscape before a campaign. The smallest details, the glance, the pause, the unspoken tension, can reveal intentions and weaknesses. These are not idle curiosities. They are intelligence points that allow you to position yourself for influence and control. The mind that anticipates is already winning. By structuring your perception, you convert what appears chaotic into patterns, and patterns into predictable outcomes. Recognition of subtle threats, social maneuvering, silent competition, or hesitation within yourself is not paranoia, it is preparation. Every moment you fail to name the enemy, you give them a foothold in your decisions and actions. Cultivate stillness as a weapon. Just as a predator waits, coiled and patient before striking, you must train your thoughts to remain observant without reaction. Do not act on impulse. Instead, gather information and let insight accumulate until the moment. For decisive action arrives. Strategic forethought allows you to move while others react. Consider a situation in which a colleague disagrees openly during a planning session. Instead of confrontation, listen, assess the reasoning, and respond with measured clarity that redirects energy toward the shared objective. Calm authority in disagreement disarms resistance and commands respect without raising tension. Prioritize your energy and focus as a commander allocates troops. Every mental engagement, every conversation, every decision consumes resources. Guard them. Avoid dispersing effort on trivialities. Concentrate on high-value opportunities where preparation compounds advantage. Daily habits, early planning, reflection, and disciplined analysis are your scouts and sentries ensuring no threat approaches unobserved. The seemingly mundane practices of structure and vigilance are your armor, invisible yet indispensable. Neglect them, and your defenses crumble before the first external challenge even appears. Anchor every observation and action with decisive intent. Recognize patterns in behavior, anticipate responses, and position yourself accordingly. Let hesitation be replaced by clarity, uncertainty by readiness, and distraction by focus. Understand that the first victory in any endeavor is the mental conquest of doubt and hesitation. When you approach a task or negotiation, know the terrain, anticipate counter moves, and align your resources to secure an advantage before engagement begins. Your presence alone should communicate readiness, composure, and quiet authority. Close every internal preparation with a mantra that consolidates power and focus. Let it remind you daily that the war begins in thought, that victory is born in foresight, and that dominance over circumstance starts with control over yourself. Repeat it silently to anchor your mindset. I command before the battle. I endure before the storm. I am untouchable. This is the law of the strategist, the principle that ensures when the external battle arrives, you are already positioned to win. Awareness, anticipation, and decisive mental command transform uncertainty into opportunity and hesitation into momentum, establishing a foundation upon which every tangible victory is built. The mind is the first battlefield, and victory is claimed long before the clash of swords or debate. Rule your thoughts as a king rules his domain. Without internal sovereignty, every external engagement becomes a test you are unprepared to face. Distraction, doubt, and unchecked emotion are invisible rebels, eroding power before it is displayed. Discipline your mental court. Organize priorities, align intentions, and govern impulses with the clarity of command. A ruler who allows chaos within is already weakened, and no strategy executed externally can compensate for inner disorder. Begin each day by surveying your inner territory, identifying which impulses to harness and which to suppress, recognizing that self-mastery is the foundation of influence. Awareness is your silent army. Observe patterns in human behavior and the ebb and flow of circumstances. Anticipate moves before they occur. When colleagues or competitors repeat actions, recognize the signals and adjust your positioning accordingly. In meetings, notice subtle gestures, hesitations, and emphasis. These are intelligence points that allow you to calculate responses with precision. Foresight allows the mind to act while others react. By committing to this disciplined observation, you create a buffer against surprises and cultivate a psychological advantage that is often invisible to those around you. Approach each interaction as a tactical scenario, deploying attention as you would deploy scouts across a field. Your victory is often secured in the awareness of what others fail to see. Presence is your armor and your signal of command. Your composure communicates authority before words are spoken. When disagreement arises, maintain stillness and clarity. Allow logic and timing to dictate action rather than impulse. A subtle correction or calmly stated counterpoint conveys control and earns respect without aggression. In practice, this can look like calmly redirecting a discussion when a subordinate proposes a counter-strategy, acknowledging their input while framing the decision in broader strategic terms. Silent command deters challenges before they materialize, creating an environment where influence flows naturally from restraint and confidence. Weak language invites pushback. Strong language frames outcomes decisively. Weak. I think we might consider another option. Strong. We will proceed. With this plan, adjustments are noted for future consideration. Anchor every decision with clarity and intent. Allocate mental resources deliberately, focusing energy where it will yield maximum impact. Avoid dispersion of effort. Recognize that attention is a finite force. Build daily rituals of reflection, planning, and analysis to ensure no opportunity is missed and no weakness exploited. The disciplined mind transforms uncertainty into opportunity, hesitation into decisive momentum, and internal chaos into structured power. As you consolidate control over thoughts and emotions, external obstacles lose their potency. Your throne is established in the realm of cognition, impervious to impulsive interference or unprepared challenges. Close this stage of command with a concise mantra that embodies the principle of internal mastery. I reign within. The battlefield follows. This declaration is not idle rhetoric. It is a reinforcement of strategy, a reminder that control over the mind secures every victory before it is fought, and that foresight, discipline, and silent authority are the first and most decisive instruments of triumph. Every action henceforth flows from this mental throne, and from this position, you dictate the terms of engagement with calm certainty. Your sovereignty is absolute, originating in thought and radiating outward to shape every interaction, decision, and outcome with unshakable precision. The dawn is your first battlefield, and how you engage it dictates the tempo of every hour that follows. Those who rise early do not merely wake. They seize the initiative, claiming ground while others remain dormant. Begin your rituals and decisions before the world stirs, establishing momentum that carries through the day. The first mover advantage is decisive. Every thought, every preparation executed before others act compounds, shaping circumstances in your favor. This is not ambition without discipline. It is a strategic claim to the hours that are most malleable, the moments in which opportunity yields to the prepared. Treat the morning as territory to conquer. Arrange your environment, sharpen focus, and mobilize intention before distractions arise. Energy is your ammunition, and it must be guarded as rigorously as any weapon. Sleep, nutrition, and mental focus are resources to be allocated with precision. Exhaustion is a breach in your defenses. Begin the day with deliberate movement, mindful practices, and nutritional discipline to fortify both mind and body. Avoid dissipating energy on trivialities. Recognize that each decision requires cognitive reserves, When confronted with early requests or minor conflicts, respond with calm authority rather than reactive impulse, preserving strength for strategic engagements. Even minor indulgences or distractions erode readiness. Protect your capacity to act decisively and sustain it through careful pacing and prioritization, recognizing that endurance often determines victory as much as skill. Structure your day as a general army. Anticipate challenges, deploy efforts strategically, and sequence tasks to maximize impact. Tactical scheduling transforms ordinary hours into victories by aligning effort with opportunity. Map the flow of engagements before they arrive, assigning attention to those that require initiative rather than reaction. Preemptive planning allows you to navigate unforeseen obstacles without losing momentum, turning potential chaos into controlled maneuvers. Begin critical work during the quietest hours, handle correspondence strategically, and reserve periods of concentrated thought for decisions that shape outcomes. Routine becomes a battlefield formation, consistent, disciplined, and oriented toward maximum leverage. Employ timing as both shield and weapon. Early action projects competence, discouraging challenges before they materialize. Calmly redirect interruptions with clarity, demonstrating that your control of time equates to command over circumstances. Weak. I suppose we could start this now. Strong. We begin now. Follow the framework and adapt as needed. Command the rhythm of the day, not merely its tasks. Momentum becomes your ally. Resistance diminishes, and opportunities compound. In the hours you dominate, each morning conquered reinforces your presence, sets the tone for interactions, and ensures that control flows from preparation rather than reaction. Close this stage of strategic mastery with a single mantra that embodies the principle of early advantage. I strike first. The day follows. Let it remind you that the dawn is not passive, but an active battlefield in which victory favors the disciplined, the energetic, and the foresighted. Seize these hours with the precision of a commander, the patience of a strategist, and the vigilance of a sentry. Each morning conquered solidifies momentum, preserves strength, and grants leverage that resonates across the hours to come. Your dominance begins before the world fully awakens, and every subsequent engagement is shaped by the initiative you claim at first light. Stillness is your deadliest weapon, and those who mistake silence for weakness will be undone before they understand the strike. To wield stillness effectively, you must first master observation. Watch attentively, absorbing every gesture, every tone, every shift in the environment. Information is the invisible arrow that precedes any attack. Without it, movement is blind and vulnerability is exposed. Approach situations with the patience of a predator stalking its prey. Allow others to reveal their weaknesses through words, habits, or decisions. Your awareness transforms waiting into action, transforming hesitation into strategic advantage. The one who sees all before acting controls the battlefield without lifting a sword. Controlled patience is not indecision, it is precision in waiting. Impulsive strikes, though flashy, often betray inner instability and squander potential dominance. Time your actions deliberately, waiting until circumstances amplify their impact. Observe how minor provocations are handled by others, discern the emotional currents, and strike at the optimal moment. This calculated restraint communicates confidence. Those who act too soon reveal need and eagerness, undermining authority. Quietly plan maneuvers as a chess master sets traps, anticipate reactions, position pieces carefully, and execute moves that convert opportunity into advantage. Your restraint becomes a silent signal. Power is not declared, it is embodied. Psychological. Domination emerges from composed stillness. A calm presence unsettles more than aggression ever could, creating a perception of unassailable authority. When faced with conflict or disagreement, maintain equilibrium. Weak. Maybe we should reconsider. Strong. We will proceed according to the plan, adjust as necessary. The manner in which you inhabit space, speak sparingly, and absorb challenges without visible agitation conveys control far beyond words or visible force. Stillness becomes an invisible blade, cutting through tension and asserting dominance subtly yet unmistakably. Allow your calm to dictate the pace, influence decisions and shape outcomes without a single overt move. Integrate observation, patience and composure as inseparable components of your strategy. Each informs the other. Intelligence guides timing, timing enhances psychological authority, and calm amplifies the perceived power of every act. Do not underestimate the power of presence. Even minor confrontations, when handled silently and decisively, signal mastery and deter future resistance. Let your silence be purposeful, deliberate, and tactical. Others will speak hastily, act impulsively, and betray themselves. Your restraint becomes the standard to which all are measured, establishing dominance without unnecessary conflict or visible aggression. Close this phase of mastery with a mantra that captures the essence of weaponized stillness. I strike silently. All tremble unseen. Carry it as a reminder that stillness is not void. It is a force that shapes outcomes, preserves energy, and commands attention. In mastering the art of silent observation, you convert patience into power, awareness into action, and presence into an invisible blade that cuts decisively and without warning. Your authority is embodied, unwavering, and undeniable. Victory favors the decisive, and hesitation invites the undoing of all preparation. Ruthless elimination is not cruelty. It is the discipline of a commander who secures the battlefield before the enemy even assembles. Begin by identifying weak links within your circle. Allies and rivals alike harbor vulnerabilities. Indifference to these fissures allows betrayal to grow unnoticed. Observe closely. Inconsistencies in behavior, divided loyalties, and patterns of unreliability are signals. Address them mentally first, mapping potential consequences and adjusting your strategy to mitigate exposure. Awareness transforms uncertainty into control, turning potential liabilities into predictable variables. Strategic disconnection is the next imperative. Toxic influences, distractions, and draining relationships erode momentum like termites weakening a fortress. Do not hesitate to sever ties preemptively. Foresight in these matters prevents conflict from encroaching on your domain. Remove interference from conversations, decision-making, and resource allocation without public drama. Weak, I hope this ends well. Strong, our paths no longer align. I focus on what strengthens my position. Calmly enforce boundaries, knowing that protecting your energy is a preemptive strike that ensures resilience and clarity. Detachment becomes a shield, preserving your strength for battles that matter. Focused resource deployment ensures that energy and attention are not scattered. Attempting to engage every challenge simultaneously dilutes impact and invites failure. Concentrate effort on high-impact targets where your advantage is maximal. Allocate time, influence, and resources where they yield decisive results. In negotiations or team dynamics, prioritize issues that alter the strategic landscape rather than responding to minor irritants. One decisive move, executed with precision, outweighs multiple unfocused actions. Channel your resources as a general, marshals troops, positioning for optimal effect, anticipating enemy moves, and striking with overwhelming force when the moment is right. Integrate these practices into a seamless approach. Recognize vulnerabilities, remove toxic elements, and direct your energy toward high-value objectives. Each step reinforces the others. Intelligence informs disconnection, which preserves focus, which amplifies impact. This cycle of ruthless foresight transforms potential chaos into structured advantage. Command your environment with clarity, enforce boundaries without agitation, and act decisively where the returns justify it. Your presence communicates authority, your choices shape outcomes, and your discipline ensures that threats never materialize into crises. Close this phase of mastery with a mantra that embodies preemptive decisiveness. I remove obstacles. Nothing stands. Carry it as a constant reminder that preparation, focus, and courageous detachment forge victory before the battle is even joined. The battlefield is yours to control, and every action becomes a calculated stroke of power executed With precision, authority and unshakable calm. Authority is not inherited. It is performed, reinforced, and never questioned. To command without opposition, you must become a living signal of power. Every gesture you make is a move on the battlefield of perception. Posture is your armor, eye contact your sword, and measured words your artillery. Hesitation invites doubt, and doubt spreads like wildfire through a faltering army. Project unwavering confidence in every interaction. Let your presence alone signal control. Observe the subtle effects. A nod, a pause, a firm glance can silence dissent before it forms. Control your micro-expressions and tone. Inconsistency undermines influence faster than overt confrontation. Power is visible in alignment between thought, body, and action, and when executed consistently, it convinces others that resistance is futile. Manipulating perception requires foresight and precision. Leaders who anticipate reactions shape reality to their advantage. Send signals strategically. Demonstrate competence where it matters. Conceal vulnerability where it does not. In meetings or negotiations, small actions like proactive preparation, timely gestures, and decisive language communicate authority without overt assertion. Weak. I hope this works out. Strong. This will succeed. We proceed. These controlled signals craft a narrative of inevitability, making your mind appear untouchable. When others perceive certainty and control, they adjust their expectations, decisions, and behavior in your favor. Observation remains key. Recognize the signals others send and redirect them subtly, like a general maneuvering forces unseen by the enemy. Silent enforcement amplifies command. Rules gain authority not when stated, but when their consequences manifest clearly and consistently. Let discipline, performance standards, and accountability act as instruments of authority. Address violations through measured, predictable outcomes, not reactive argumentation. When a team member challenges a directive, respond calmly, enforce the agreed protocol, and allow the system to demonstrate consequence. One precise example suffices. An employee disputes a deadline. You enforce the agreed terms quietly, letting their results communicate the cost of inaction. This approach cultivates respect, discourages further resistance, and reinforces your position without unnecessary confrontation. Consistency in enforcement signals a throne that cannot be undermined. Integrate these elements into a cohesive command. Project unshakable confidence. Manipulate perception with deliberate signals, and enforce standards silently but decisively. Each component reinforces the others, forming a psychological armor that renders opposition ineffective. Leadership becomes performance, observation becomes intelligence, and restraint becomes power. The battlefield is no longer merely physical, it exists in minds, behaviors, and expectations. Control the narrative through presence and consequence, and others will conform to the pattern you set. Your authority is the shadow that precedes action, the calm before decisive motion, the invisible blade that aligns loyalty without argument. Close. This phase of mastery with a mantra to internalize the art of commanding without question. I lead, none resist. Carry it as a constant reminder that true authority is silent, precise, and indisputable, executed with clarity, foresight, and unshakable composure. The fiercest battles are often fought within. Your mind is the battlefield, and your impulses, fears, and doubts are the hidden enemies waiting to strike. Confront them without hesitation. Identify hesitation, insecurities, and self-doubt as threats that can undermine every calculated maneuver. Fear signals weakness. Hesitation invites failure. Observe your internal landscape with precision as a general surveys the terrain before the first volley. Acknowledge each internal threat, label it, and neutralize it through deliberate action. Do not allow uncertainty to dictate strategy. Master it. Discipline is your weapon, restraint your armor. Delay immediate gratification in favor of strategic advantage. Control emotional reactions. Let reason guide decisions even when provocation seeks to break composure. Impulses are ambushes on the path to dominance. Anticipate them and move decisively. Forge mental resilience as a steel forged in fire. Treat discomfort as training, challenges as exercises in fortitude, and setbacks as lessons in adaptation. Enduring difficulty strengthens perception, enhances judgment, and sharpens strategic thinking. Small sacrifices compound into unshakable strength. Each deliberate act of self-control reinforces command over your own mind. In moments of stress or distraction, observe the reflexes that betray unpreparedness. Replace automatic reactions with measured responses. Convert anxiety into calculated patience. When doubts arise during critical operations, address them immediately through clear analysis and stepwise mitigation. Weak, I might fail. Strong, I will endure, I will prevail. This framing transforms internal chaos into structured power. Neutralizing self-sabotage requires continuous vigilance. Regularly audit your intentions, reactions, and patterns. Remove indulgences, habits, or narratives that erode focus. Treat your mind as territory to be secured. Neglected areas invite invasion. When internal conflict surfaces during decision-making, act as the calm commander who acknowledges dissent yet enforces discipline. Redirect mental energy from rumination to tactical execution. Let persistence, self-awareness, and controlled action serve as the invisible forces that secure victory before external confrontation. The throne of mastery is held not by brute force, but by relentless self-regulation and strategic patience. Integrate confrontation, discipline, and resilience into a unified approach. Each element reinforces the others, forming an internal army that anticipates threat, endures pressure, and executes strategy with precision. Your mind becomes a fortress, your impulses subdued, your judgment sharpened, and your endurance strengthened. The internal battlefield is won not through denial, but through recognition, measured action, and consistent enforcement of self-imposed rules. By mastering these inner forces, external opposition becomes less relevant, and strategic advantage becomes inevitable. The assassin within is not cruel but precise, eliminating weakness, reinforcing clarity, and ensuring readiness. Carry this principle as a mantra, internal and unyielding. I strike first within. Energy is a neutral force. How you wield it determines dominance. Your mind is the hunting ground, your ambition the predator. Channel passion strategically, directing focus toward objectives rather than distractions. Misused energy dissipates power, leaving vulnerability in its wake. Identify impulses that drain momentum and redirect them toward calculated endeavors. Treat each action as a strike in a larger campaign. Precision outweighs brute force. Calculate every maneuver before committing. Analyze odds, observe the environment, and strike only when conditions favor success. Aggression without foresight is reckless. Restraint preserves potential. The predator does not exhaust itself in futile skirmishes. It waits for decisive opportunity. Sustain reserves of strength, understanding that endurance outlasts impulsive effort. Overextension invites collapse. Measured application ensures survival and dominance. Each moment of preparation compounds influence. Each pause reinforces authority. Controlled aggression is not fury but disciplined initiative. Let intensity flow into structured channels, powering strategic moves without eroding composure. When ambition surges, convert it into tangible progress. Avoid distraction by emotion or external provocation. Focus on leverage, timing, and the subtle accumulation of advantage. The wolf does not chase every scent. It selects targets that matter, advancing the hunt with patience. Use setbacks as recalibration rather than reaction. Emotional equilibrium becomes armor, sustaining clarity under pressure. Observe the environment and adapt tactics accordingly. Weak, I must attack now. Strong, I choose the optimal moment to strike. This mindset converts raw energy into decisive impact. Risk is a tool, not a gamble. Calculated assessment precedes action. Weigh consequences, anticipate resistance, and exploit openings that promise disproportionate reward. Avoid encounters that dissipate resources without strategic gain. When others act impulsively, maintain observation and prepare to capitalize. Patience amplifies advantage, impulsivity erodes it. Maintain composure even as competitors falter, letting preparedness dictate engagement. Timing and precision ensure that aggression becomes force multiplied, not wasted. Strategic application of energy creates momentum that others cannot match. Harnessing aggression demands consistency and self-awareness. Regulate output, conserve strength, and direct intensity toward strategic objectives. Each movement is deliberate. Each decision anticipates counter-moves. Energy becomes a reservoir fueling calculated action rather than erratic response. Let the wolf within guide focus, sustain power, and execute with precision. Reserve strength for moments that define outcomes. Transform passion into disciplined pursuit, risk into calculated advantage, and persistence into unyielding force. Internalize this principle as a guiding mantra. I strike with purpose. Victory belongs to those who see beyond the immediate move. Life is a chessboard, each decision a piece whose placement dictates outcomes. Map every possibility, tracing consequences for each action before it occurs. Consider not only your response, but the ripple it creates across the board. Forethought is armor, anticipation is weaponry. Recognize patterns in human behavior, the repeated gestures, predictable reactions and common desires. Exploit these consistencies to position yourself advantageously. Observe rival strategies, detect habits, and adjust your plan to turn foresight into leverage. Every encounter becomes an opportunity to outmaneuver, every interaction a calculated step toward dominance. Sacrifice is an instrument of strategy, not emotion. Let go of minor pieces to secure major advantages. The king survives not by clinging to all assets, but by prioritizing long-term gain over immediate comfort. Release temporary, control over lesser matters to preserve influence where it matters most. Evaluate each concession with precision, ensuring that losses are measured, tactical, and reinforcing broader objectives. Understand that restraint in minor engagements builds capacity for decisive victories. The battlefield rewards those who can relinquish what is expendable while safeguarding what is essential. Commit to calculated detachment, using temporary surrender as a tool of mastery. Strategic execution demands vigilance and adaptability. Continuously reassess positions, adjusting moves as conditions shift. Avoid rigid adherence to initial plans. Flexibility multiplies advantage. Anticipate counter moves, prepare contingencies, and maintain mental reserves for critical moments. Let each decision reflect analysis, not impulse. Weak, I react to their moves. Strong, I dictate the tempo and anticipate their strategy. Approach every challenge with clarity, applying energy where it yields maximum effect. Foresight converts uncertainty into control, hesitation into decisive action, and opportunity into conquest. Internalize this principle as your guiding mantra. I see all moves. Discipline is the unseen fortress of power. Your mind, body, and strategy respond to ritual as armor, each repetition forging strength invisible to observers. Daily drills condition not just muscles but intent. The rehearsal of thought, movement, and calculation transforms preparation into instinct. Repetition creates memory for the battlefield, ensuring that when chaos erupts, action is precise, reflexive, unhesitant. Train relentlessly in the small moments. Practice the mental maneuver before the opportunity demands it. Structure your day with unwavering cadence. The throne is maintained by consistency, not by sporadic effort. Repetition becomes the engine that converts preparation into invincibility. Every exercise in discipline compounds, layering readiness. Upon readiness until unpredictability meets control. Mental armor is your safeguard against surprise attacks and emotional manipulation. Ritual is defense, habit is shield. By codifying responses, you neutralize attempts to provoke or distract. Calmly execute routines and let others' volatility reveal itself while your steadiness dominates. Weak, I try to remain composed. Strong, I am anchored, I do not flinch. Let every action reinforce boundaries, Each practice fortifies focus. Observe interruptions with detachment, absorb lessons without reaction, and internalize the structure as an extension of will. Unexpected challenges become manageable because preparation has created an environment where distraction cannot penetrate. Build resilience through repeated, deliberate practice. Unbreakable commitment emerges from ritualized discipline. Declare actions sacred. Treat repetition as law. Even under pressure, performance must not falter. Prioritize consistency over convenience. Let every task, every thought, every strategic exercise be an act of mastery. Predictability in execution generates freedom in response, and steadfastness overcomes chaos. Sacrifice comfort for adherence to principle. The throne rewards endurance. Internalize this framework so that external turbulence cannot sway resolve. Your mind becomes a citadel, impervious and precise. Command every day, master every motion, and conclude with clarity, repeating this mantra until it defines your presence. I endure, I conquer. Power resides not in reaction but in absence. To become untouchable, you must operate beyond fear, threat, and consequence. The battlefield is everywhere, yet mastery emerges when you transcend it, commanding the scene without visible struggle. Influence is strongest when unseen. Invisible dominance shapes outcomes before opponents recognize a contest exists. Maneuver quietly, act deliberately, and ensure your presence is felt without confrontation. Your power is a shadow that guides events, not a sword that forces them. Cultivate this subtle force daily. Move like the predator who controls the territory by perception alone. Let others reveal their weaknesses while your intentions remain unreadable. Every interaction becomes a test of your patience and insight. Strength lies in restraint as much as in action. Embody authority with unshakable poise. Stand as the throne itself, immovable, self-contained, undeniable. Command respect. Through consistency, clarity, and presence rather than noise or aggression. Ritualize preparation so confidence becomes instinctive, letting decisions flow with precision under pressure. Weak, I hope they respect me. Strong, I act, they recognize, power manifests. Your posture, gaze, and tone communicate mastery without a single word. Let inner sovereignty radiate outward. Others may challenge or provoke, but a disciplined mind does not react impulsively. Calmly reaffirm boundaries and maintain focus on long-term objectives. Authority embedded in self-mastery cannot be undermined. It is a fortress built from deliberate habits and unwavering commitment. Eternal vigilance is the final safeguard. Anticipate disruption before it arrives. The mind is always the throne and preparation is your citadel. Rehearse scenarios, refine strategies, and internalize principles until response is automatic. When surprise strikes, you are ready. Unpredictability meets structure and chaos becomes manageable. Protect your mental territory by cultivating awareness, reflection, and disciplined action. Maintain the rhythm of training, observation, and refinement without exception. By consistently applying these principles, you neutralize threats and elevate influence. Act with clarity, observe without attachment, and secure mastery over circumstance. Declare each day a rehearsal of power. Close with the enduring mantra that defines untouchable presence. I command, I endure, I am untouchable. Victory is not seized at the clash of swords, but claimed in the silence before engagement. You are the general within, and mastery is revealed when thought, emotion, and action converge into a single, unstoppable force. Every decision you make, every movement you execute is calculated, precise, and aligned with your ultimate objective. Synthesis of power begins in the mind. Integrate your knowledge, intuition, and resolve so that hesitation cannot find a foothold. Treat strategy as the skeleton and discipline as the muscle. Together they move with fluid strength. Observe your environment relentlessly. Predict not only what will happen, but how others perceive, react, and misstep. By merging anticipation with execution, you operate several steps ahead of any opponent. Your mental omnipresence transforms ordinary preparation into a strategic advantage that cannot be matched by reaction alone. Operate where others merely exist, and let foresight dictate your moves. In the heat of competition, remain detached. Emotion is a tool, not a master. Channel urgency into efficiency, doubt into calculation, and tension into sharp awareness. A micro example: when a subordinate challenges your method, respond with measured clarity, acknowledge their perspective, reassert the plan, and move forward without disruption. This is the demonstration of internal sovereignty manifesting externally. Authority is earned through consistency, clarity, and a presence that demands recognition without threat. Every interaction, every choice is part of the larger strategy. Transcendent confidence dissolves fear because it is built on preparation and self-command. When you step onto the field, hesitation is absent, and indecision cannot take root. The battlefield bows before readiness, and the momentum of mastery precedes engagement. Make every rehearsal count, every contingency accounted for, and every scenario anticipated. Power becomes habitual when practiced relentlessly. Physical skill is augmented by mental precision, and timing becomes as lethal as any weapon. Weak: I hope to succeed. Strong: I act with foresight. Success follows. Your presence must radiate certainty, your actions a sequence of deliberate choices that shape outcomes invisibly yet irrevocably. Operate from the throne of your mind. Let strategy be your shadow, discipline your armor, and insight your spear. Never allow unpreparedness to define the moment. Anticipation and preparation dictate the terms of every encounter. With this integration, obstacles dissolve before they appear, threats neutralized before they materialize, and opportunities seized before others perceive them. Execute with calm intensity, observe with clarity, and maintain control regardless of circumstance. Let each day's training reinforce mastery, each decision be an assertion of sovereignty, and each movement a reflection of calculated intent. The ultimate battlefield is within, and victory manifests there first. Close with the commanding mantra that binds all principles into a singular force: I am the general. The battle is mine before it begins. Victory is forged long before the clash of steel. Treat every day as a preparation for the unseen battle. Rise early, observe sharply, and rehearse your discipline like a general drilling troops before dawn. Daily enforcement is not ritual for its own sake. It is the foundation of untouchable power. Reflect on every decision, measure every emotion, and align thought with action so that hesitation cannot find purchase. Let your mind be the throne from which all strategy flows. Command respect without uttering a word. Authority emanates from the consistency of your discipline, from the calm intensity with which you occupy space. When disagreement arises, meet it with measured clarity. Listen without attachment, assert your reasoning without aggression, and move forward with unwavering focus. Each interaction becomes an exercise in internal sovereignty, each decision a reinforcement of your mastery. Legacy is built not in moments of external conquest, but in the quiet accumulation of control over self. Influence flows naturally when you have anchored your presence in preparation and reflection. Fear loses its grip when your confidence is forged in repeated, deliberate action. The storm within is steadied by ritual, sharpened by observation, and maintained by vigilance. Operate as though every circumstance is already accounted for. Anticipate challenges, neutralize hesitation, and transform potential chaos into predictable outcomes. Weak: I hope to manage this situation. Strong: I prepare, I observe, I command. The situation bends to readiness. By internalizing these principles, you become untouchable before any battle manifests. Freedom arises from mastery, influence from consistency, and victory from preparation. Every day is a rehearsal for life's conflicts, every decision a step towards sovereignty. The throne of your mind is unassailable when fortified with discipline, reflection, and unwavering focus. Command your presence, enforce your internal laws, and let each action reinforce your psychological dominion. Your legacy is the invisible power that shapes outcomes before they occur. Stand as the blade, the storm, the throne itself. Let no circumstance dictate your mastery. Close every day with unwavering affirmation and carry it into all arenas of life. I am the throne, the blade, the storm. I endure, I command, I am untouchable.